on the wall?
Jonathan Morha was second district.
Javen Cruz, Northern District.
Rosanna Rosario, Northern District. Diane Vice, Department of Agriculture.
Glenn Gula, EOG, Southern District.
Bill Cruz from Biosecurity, Guam Customs and Quarantine. Ross Miller, University of Guam.
Jeremy Camacho, Port Authority.
Mike Gall, retired Park Service and EPA.
Frank Alley, NAFAC Marianas.
Alicia, so from New Mayor's office. Did we get everybody?
I think we should get like GAA and put some of the others up to the table if they can. There's 2 seats available.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a peanut gallery in there.
Yeah. So with the bell, too, and I almost repeated it.
Oh,
You
there's-
guys-
yeah.
Want to introduce yourself? It's a big screen, I can't see you.
All day morning, Garrett Ortiza, Guam Invasive Species Detective Officer.
Paul Robbins, USDA, Davis.
All the conception, the canine dog team.
And Liz Alexander, Canada. And you know what, I'll introduce my official title when I'm not here. Forestry Division Chief for your Guam Department of Agriculture.
Do we have some people online?
Do we? Okay.
Do I just read off the names?
Yeah.
Jerome Perez, Rudy Estoy.
Where's Jerome Harris from and Ruby Escobar?
It doesn't keep on the Jerome Perez, but
Jerome is NAFAC.
And Kathleen.
Yeah.
And Rudy's a board.
oh, I'm sorry, they wanna,
Yeah.
they could introduce themselves, sorry about that.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's okay.
They going to?
Denalyn Abenales, Northern District.
Good day, everyone. Jerome Perez with Camp Loss Environmental.
Yes, I'll go. Yo, Tapasnia, your Department of Agriculture, Ed Dar.
Good morning, everyone. Rudy Estoy, Guam Department of Agriculture.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Marinka Faimao. This is Sayaka Naito, and we're with Dr. Kita Long at the Palau Community College, CRE.
And, can you introduce yourself?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Buck Jolly, the Assistant State Director with Wildlife Services, so.
Come on up, Buck, there's a picture.
Okay, I've heard that. That's gonna be in the back.
I've stopped trying to hide back there, but if I do, they make me sit up here.
You were here, I knew.
Is that everybody online?
Did Chris introduce himself, a guy named Chris?
Don't think so.
He's gonna go.
Is that me?
Yes, that's me.
I'm with those other good lab people. I'm Chris Kidalong from Palau Community College. Recruiters.
That's everyone.
Well, thank you everybody again for coming, and we can start, we can defer to our agenda. Do I need opening remarks again? Okay, I can just jump to that thing. And make a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
Time to review the meeting agenda first.
Can I make a clarification?
Yes, sir.
You cannot approve the meeting agenda because it's a public meeting. The agenda needs to, once it's already published, you cannot amend it on the, whatever is published on the newspaper.
Okay.
And so the meeting agenda is as is, you cannot add or subtract because of the Freedom of Information Act and the notice, government notices.
Okay.
So the agenda, this portion of the approval meeting agenda shouldn't be on the agenda.
Now, so okay, so we're gonna skip the approval of meeting agenda and go straight to the approval of the last meeting minutes from January 8th, 2025. Does everyone have a copy of that or able to reference or refer to one? Do you need a minute to review the minutes?
Well, I need a long minute. Can we move,
Okay.
can we move this to the latter part of the meeting? So that we can review it. Well, this is the first time seeing it.
Okay, Joe, we're gonna move it to the end.
Thank you,
Okay.
appreciate it.
And then now we're up to the secretary report. Who is our secretary?
Okay. So I would like to, I can go ahead and talk about the report. Currently with the invasive species funding, fee fund. That's collected for this, for fiscal year, which is, we're currently in fiscal year 2025. As of May 31st, the amount collected was $684,408.54. The amount currently owed is $370,346.14, which gives a total amount, as of May 31st to be charged, $1,054,754.68. Any questions regarding the fees?
Yeah, when you say all owed, is that outstanding or is that what biosecurity owes?
No.
Is it outstanding from the vendor?
With the invasive species funding fee that is paid by the shipping vendors, the shipping agents, that is what's owed to.
That's outstanding from the shipping agent.
Correct.
So the total will be the full revenues collected and this is from 1 October of this year?
1 October of this year to May.
Oh, 1 October of last year.
Last
fiscal
year, yes,
To now, May 31st.
correct.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah.
So would that be the same as receivables then, right?
Yes.
You're waiting for that.
Actually,
Yes.
that's what it's for now.
So receivables.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Great clarification.
Thank you. I will say though, in the agenda, there was an error. So if you take a look at the committee reports is actually should be into the old business. And the reason being is because we've had established committees at the last 2 meetings. So so if you take a look at old business and the establishment of committees, if you compare that to the current, what you see on the next agenda line item, which is committee reports, it's actually a copy of each other. So I apologize for that error, but we can go ahead and defer to now the old business. Right? But before we do that, shall we start with the member updates? Can we go ahead and proceed with that? Okay, great. So with member updates, we actually go over along the voting members, along the line of voting members at the top left side of the page. And then we will defer to all of our our voting members. Yeah. Ex-official members. Thank you. Okay, so I guess we'll start with the Guam Department of Agriculture. So I would like to announce that we have new certified canine member. Gosh, I'm probably butchering it. If I can defer to Mr. Garrett Certeza to come up and give an announcement for the species detector dog team. Thanks.
Buddy does.
Yes, yes.
Morning, everybody. Again, my name is Garrett Steza. I am the supervisor of the detector dog team that's within the Department of Agriculture. We are a federally funded program that was received year pilot program of, 3-year funding from the Department of Interior, U.S. Department of Interior, and then has since transferred to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. In the beginning, we had 4 canine handlers that graduated in 2003 and have since recertified. But after our team of 4, we lost 2 handlers that moved off island and have since hired 2 new handlers, and they just completed their certification course yesterday. So the update is that we now have a total of 4 again certified handlers and dogs. And the training was done in collaboration with the US Department of Agriculture, APHIS, Wildlife Services, the department that basically manages the brown tree snake canine program. So they provided us with the federal certification course to be able to use our dogs to inspect for primarily CRB at the ports of Guam, on exports that are heading to areas that don't have security. So I have to just introduce this is Olu Conception and Elizabeth Alexander. And this is our trainer, Mr. Paul Roberts, who basically provided us with the training that we needed to be able to complete our course. So
Thank you, Alu and Viz, for being good students, listening. Through trying times, as the dogs, they're dogs, they don't want to cooperate always. But we made it through. Actually, this year we added for all 4 dog teams, they added aircraft to their certification. So now all dogs have been trained on searching aircraft for beetles.
So, sorry, just a quick update. So our dogs are also trained to search cargo and vehicles and now aircraft for looking for a single live rhino kill. To date, our program has a total of 5 so far, which does sound kind of a low number, but again, these are random hitchhikers that are kind of randomly placed or randomly found on items that are in a generally secure area that's moving. But they've been found, even actually during the most recent thing was last month over at a warehouse in Teton, we found a live one just crawling on inside the warehouse that has items that are for export.
While we were training.
Yeah, while they were training. So again, this program kind of showcases that it's out there. It's obviously this can be egress to other islands. It's now in Rota, all throughout the Hawaiian Islands, and I believe Marshall Islands. So unfortunately, this is something that we're trying to prevent. As part of their course, they had to find a minimum of 8 out of 10 targets, of 5 exercises. And so all of them did that with, I think, 9, was it 9 and 10?
9 and 10.
Yeah, so that's just an update for Detective Dr. Ryan.
Thank you for that. Signed by me and Dr. Gordon, you can.
Well, I actually wanted to say a little bit more, just to add on. So this was a very last minute kind of certificate ceremony that we decided to do today. And the significance is, to do it at the council meeting, especially is because so many of us partners were a part of developing the program. Like we couldn't do it without most of all of you. So Gary already mentioned the University of Guam, Wildlife Services, let's see what else. Also, of course, Department of Agriculture, but we're also held within the same, I guess, work facility as Guam Customs and Quarantine, their dog unit, so they provide us a lot of supports. And obviously the support from the airport and the Port Authority to be able to have security clearances and access to the critical areas that they need to protect. So I'd like to thank the council members for supporting this program and say congratulations to Olu and Liz for their hard work and their continued service to protecting the island. And I'm gonna ask if the chair and the co-chair can we do a photo op real quick and the certificate presentations.
I didn't want to wait for Chelsea. Yeah.
I had no idea she wasn't gonna be here, but you're not talking.
Come on, Christine.
City Hall's 10 house in this item.
All right.
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
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 Assessing that.
Always listen first of all.
You can go.
I was like, I'm still middle.
Yeah. Yeah, he's absolutely.
Yeah, as soon as I'm done here, I have to go back.
Yeah, so we're still on, member updates. So yeah, again, we'd like to thank them for the presentation. That was very nice. Okay, so, the next, I guess I'd like to kind of talk about the next update for under Guam Department of Agriculture. Between August 1st to the 15th, Washington State Department of Agriculture is gonna be, it's gonna be coming to Guam, to do a training for, insect tagging, specifically hornets. They wanted to include coconut rhinoceros beetle. So, the guys that eradicated, northern giant hornet, in, Washington State, will be coming over again to do a training. This involves, training that would also be involving a lot of the first detectors. So customs and quarantine, as well as Port Authority, folks from GIA and anyone involved that with eradication methods. So
What are the
yes.
dates again?
Did you say August 1st or
Yeah,
August 11th?
So August 1st to the 15th, they are coming to Guam, but the
So-
training will be conducted, workshop will be conducted on a whole week, so for 5 days, from August 11th to August 14th. Yeah. Yeah. And it'll be held at the Guam Trades Academy.
You'll be sending out a notice, right?
I will be sending out a notice, shortly by the end of this month to get more, to give you guys more information. So, yeah, it'll be great. Obviously, they're gonna be bringing a lot of the equipment involved with tagging. So using, so again, radio telemetry, and, yeah, so that's for that announcement. And then last but not least, finally, the Guam Department of Agriculture finally got the notice of award, from National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, to, do eradication efforts, within the proposed Guam Sentinel landscape. So this is, again, funded by the Department of Defense as well as, US Fish and Wildlife Service. So, of course, all under the umbrella of Department of Interior. Okay, that is my update, for Guam Department. Yes, Glenn.
Okay, can we get an introduction for our coordinator?
Yes, thank you, thanks for that. Please stand up, everyone, this is Cheerio, the Samito. Hello. Yeah, he's the new invasive species coordinator, so. So if you guys do have like any question, just obviously I would defer to him, but there will be a lot of guidance for the next 6 months to be able to roll him into this position, so, yeah. Other than that, that's it. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay, that's it.
So we covered old business then?
No, so still on members, yeah.
Normally, they're supposed to be right after the person's remarks and the report.
Yeah.
There's the members' remarks. Or members' report.
All right, so why don't we go ahead and move into the new members? Is there a list?
Oh, yeah, the list is.
Start on top.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it, okay.
Let me move forward with customs. As a member of the Invasive Species Council, we continue to again do our job at the borders. Of course, everybody understands that we are the protectors of our borders. There's been a lot of activities that I've seen within our borders, especially up at Anderson. There's a lot of increased flight movements out there. So we're trying to reevaluate and effort to actually man that particular office on a 24-hour basis instead of just being a satellite office from the airport. Because we're seeing that there's numerous interceptions that have been made with respect to not only restricted but prohibited agricultural products. Secondly, Customs just organized the Oceania Customs Organization Conference at the end of May this year. And one of the topics that was brought up during the conference by all the island nation is the importance of the environment with respect to invasive species. They were very concerned with how each and each nation are moving forward in putting initiative to ensure that invasive species program are incorporated within their operation. And that was a very fruitful discussion. Thirdly, I would like to say that there's a big project going on in Guam right now with LAC Construction doing a big project down at the Port Authority of Guam. And I have Captain Bill Cruz that probably can share something with what's happening with that particular project.
Oh, good morning. Yeah, so that construction was worth the project down at the Guam Breakwater. So myself and representatives from the Department of Culture, along with EPA and Customs, of course, I went down to Korea to see visit this site and with stones that can be arriving hopefully by the end of September. Or if not, October, Chris, right?
Yeah.
So we had to go out there to visit the site and make sure that these stones that are coming to Guam are is what they needed for the project. So we went out for about almost 4 days just to get the site. So the process is gonna go as far as bringing it over here, okay? As far as the clearance of the rocks, the sanitation of the rocks, the loading of the rocks, and then shipping over to Guam. Okay, so in that sense, then we went to Canada this last week, look at the aggregates, stones and stuff. And I retrieved some samples there to bring for the people from UOG and along with EPA to test it, to see if there's any type of DDEs or pesticides that's gonna be in the stones. So I'm just waiting right now for the actual final disposition of that. Until then, everything's still forward to the construction. Okay. That's a big part.
Is there anything that you can update us with respect to agriculture K9?
No, sir, not Mr. I couldn't, sorry.
Okay, I heard that we might be adding a training for additional instructors coming in. Not sure what's the exact date of that particular program. Thanks. And lastly, what I wanted to do is just give an update of where we're at with the customs automation that we've been working on for the last 2 years. We're on the third phase of the modernization project. And the biggest problem that we are encountering is the approval of the platform that we're trying to put together that was provided by the United Nations counterpart under trade facilitation conference. I think that's helping us provide consultants to provide the platform that we need to implement in line with the implementation of the harmonized system. This particular platform will give us the ability to work with each of the agencies, especially Department of Agriculture, Fish and Wildlife, so we can interface all imports that are coming into our borders at the same time. Move those data to your agency so that you can do whatever you want to do with it, and that's part of the project that we're working.
So when is the estimated date of completion?
We're looking at hopefully by the mid part of next year.
Mid part of
Yes,
next
because we're putting together the rules and regulations right now as is required by the law that we need to put in the rules and regulation. And also the infrastructure that we need and the funding that we need to move forward with the modernization project. So we're on track and hopefully that we can get it.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Yes.
When you talk about the modernization, you're also that you're talking about the data.
Yes.
Right, okay, so
yes,
to digitize.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to appreciate it.
Yeah, and this like goes in play with like the amount of like imported cargo from agricultural commodities to customized material that definitely is gonna be extremely helpful.
Yes, this platform will capture all and every imports that are coming into Guam. So we will have the data that's needed for whatever agency that requires that particular data.
So in helping you out in terms of, you said you needed some to go to get additional funding. Where you can get that additional funding from and then how can we help as part of the council?
Okay, right now, Department of Interior has provided us the upfront of $750,000 through BSP. Part of my budget here today is to request for 1.2 million for the infrastructure that's needed to move forward with the issue project.
Okay. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I guess now you can keep. Who's next on our line? We'll go backwards. Any other?
NGS.
Where's the district manager?
Okay, so we'll go with the districts. North, would you like to go first?
Oh, I just wanted to introduce the two new employees that we have, Javen Cruz, she's our conservation tech, and our outreach specialist, is, Rosanna Rosario. Please welcome them. If you needed some assistance, please, feel free to ask. We're, willing to share our staff to help with our council, in terms of their needs, getting all information that we may need to do. I'd like to also, see if we can include them in some of the training that you guys go through, so they can participate in it and become a part of the overall team, or the district can become a part of the overall team in helping out both customs and quarantine and agriculture, of their effort for invasive species. Other than that, we do have some, what do you call it again? We did receive some grants, but I don't want to discuss that here until we're doing it. And then I think we lost a grant, a $790,000 grant. Hopefully that's advance, and we will be able to get that once they settle the issue with the funding, the US funding side of the house relative to the USDA. Other than that, that's what I have. I forgot, there's two things. We have the educator symposium that's coming up in July for the Northern District, in terms of them providing to the teachers. And the other part to it is we have an agricultural symposium that's occurring in October of this year, and hopefully you guys can attend the agricultural symposium that's occurring. Agriculture, the Northern District, who else is involved in it? Guam's Sustainable Culture and UOG are all partners in the endeavor to move forward in terms of providing some type of thing. And this is the second annual one. We had one last year. We're having this one this year. That's it.
Right, so.
Okay, well, I think we talked a lot about the efforts that we've been doing in the last meeting, so we reported a lot on that, but one thing I just wanted to mention about was in the National Association of Conservation Districts, we have a invasive species subcommittee there also, and so I just wanted to let you guys know that we voted to how do you say it, for our leadership to a letter of support to support this in 2019, I'm sorry, I'll backtrack. 2019 or 18, they started that pilot program not nationwide, but 10 states were involved in that pilot program for feral swine eradication. And when we first heard about it, it was already being implemented, just started being implemented, and we were asking why there was no territorial or island jurisdictions involved in that to get that different perspective on the feral swine issue. And ever since then, we've been pushing a lot of this. And so anyways, coming back to now, in our invasive subcommittee, we were asking our leadership to submit a letter of support and resolution actually to Congress to have that program, support the programs permanent and continuing nationwide instead of just the 10 states. So, that thing, I believe we really have a strong, word in when we do that in Congress, under the Farm Bill. Right, that's something that we were asking to make it a permanent program. And so I just wanted to, and anyways, in the executive board meeting, because I'm also executive board member in NACD. We also both decided to put that thing forward, so it should be going, it's already there actually in Congress. The support is there, and also the lobbying efforts from our executive meetings going there and just doing it face-to-face lobbying, so hopefully that passes and it should really help. I know you guys should probably be aware of that in the Farm Bill coming up, right? Yeah.
No, we're aware of the budget markup for that, what's called the CCC program, which is CCC funds, I forget what it stands for. But basically, yeah, the feral swine pilot program is in there, but you know, until anything's voted on, but it is in there. I don't know, there's no mention about what that means other than they're continuing the program, so.
Yeah,
I don't know if that means
well,
an
in our
expansion or,
effort, we asked that it be
yeah,
brought.
yeah, right now the bill markup is just stating that the pilot program will be continuing through 2031.
Well, if our request is that it make it permanent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. Normally, NACD has a very a good standing within Congress as far as the Farm Bill.
Was there, I don't know if that's an appropriate ask here, but is a letter of support from this committee something that would help or requested as well?
You can ask those guys, they know more about their. If I don't know, I mean, maybe Raleigh, you want to say something?
So when Matt speaks at NACD and Joe, they represent Guam.
Yes.
And so their NACD follows their direction. So if they need a little support, they can get that, but at this point, I'm gonna say that their representation, their job is to be at the table and ensure that our needs are
acknowledged
are being looked after. And when they do that, they're also looking and they're carrying wildlife services. You need to understand that when feral swine, the invasive species community started because of the feral swine. And when that happened, it started with 5 states, and Guam was one of them. But there is one thing I would have to ask, and I'll have this in my report. In order for us to receive feral swine funds, are we supposed to have a state committee?
It is definitely helpful. It's helpful,
It's
not
supposed-
required.
That's why you ask, I mean, you have this committee. That the species is already under here, so to break out another committee with the same people coming to the table, it just seems redundant, doesn't that? So if you tackle it here, that's why I asked, I know you represent Guam at that national level. But it's just sometimes with conditions, with situations the way they are now, if it helps to show that the Guam Invasive Species Council or committee.
Well, the NACD actually has over 3,000 boards, just like ours nationwide.
Yeah.
And all of them, when we speak, it's speaking to all of those. And those are in all the 50 states and then the territories, and including CNMI and FSM and all those guys, but they're in active role, but it's still, we're speaking on their
Yes.
regard, so, yeah.
So in response to what Roland said is, part of the report that we send in regularly, quarterly, as part of the funding we receive to do feral swine work, one of the questions is always, is there a feral swine task force? And that task force would be kind of, I don't think it would, some people here wouldn't have necessarily relevant input to that, but many people here would, I think, so. It wouldn't necessarily be redundant, I think having the council is a support overall, and I think the letters, I mean. Letter would be a great idea to get representative, like the local representative here pushing for it.
Yeah.
But the task force, would be probably a subset of this group. Because it would be significant to feral swine, ag and, soil and.
It would, yeah, it would probably be best, the way to look at it is managed, is they're usually kind of a task force, not so much, so it might be something that might. Report out to various interested parties, usually it's. Our role in it as Wildlife Services is to facilitate its formation if folks want and help it meet. You know, it's not like we chair it or necessarily run it, because it's a task force, it's not a setup in a formal committee structure.
So there's no,
So
right now, there's no committee, I mean, in place of task force, there's no subcommittee that's,
well,
I'll defer to Joe and I'll answer after Joe.
and I don't want to derail the meeting, guys.
yeah, so the districts actually have form a cooperative agreement with APHIS
Yes.
in terms of in terms of feral swine issue. The feral swine issue, we're addressing it, really, we shouldn't be addressing it, should be the Invasive Species Council addressing it. But what's more important is that if we have an updated invasive species management plan that's Guam approved or approved by Guam, we can take that as an actual document and say where Guam officially stands in relation to invasive species, specifically the feral swine side of the house. But right now, our invasive species management plan is what? 2019 or?
Interim.
It's an interim report, and so one of the things that the board had asked on 2 meetings ago was to see what we can do to update that. I hope that can be part of the report today of where we're at in terms of updating it, because I'm the regional representative for Guam in terms of in terms of the region, for the Pacific region. And NACD, and Mike is on the board, so he's actually representing. I mean, there's only so many members on the board, and he's one of them representing. Well, not necessarily representing Guam, but he's there as literally being a part of the Pacific region. And so, what we're saying is that if we have an actual plan that's approved, we don't need. The task force can be an what is it, an outreach of that plan, but the plan needs to first be there in order for us to take that forward and say, we really need funding, because this is our current situation on Guam as we deal with invasive species. That's it, John.
Thank you guys for entertaining my questions on that.
Okay, real quick. Cheerio. It's been monitored the time. The second thing is regarding the first one, that stuff, when it's brought up, it's not brought up. It needs to be brought up, and it has to touch a national priority. It should touch a regional priority, but that's for Mike and Joe to figure out. What I will say is there was an initial task force, state committee or task force when we first started first swine. And actually there has been some conversations about standing it up again. And it will, right now it's about what components or the composition should be in order for it to be efficient. But to what was said here by our friends from Wildlife Services, that it probably should be a subcommittee under this body.
So anyways, under NRCS, right, which is their sister agency, right, local working group, right? And so that local working group kind of decides what we want NACD or NRCS to support within our local jurisdiction, right? And so the top priority right now, as far as that is we're putting in feral swine issues.
Invasive species, but in feral swine.
But the focus on feral
specifically.
swine.
Yeah.
So the last few years, it was always soil health, but feral swine is also, if we deal with that, we support this or else, so we're going back like that. It was supported, and so, you know, these guys in the wildlife services, I don't. We can work together on that, because that local working group is the voice from the land, the farmers and everybody. And that goes up into our organization straight up to the national and Congress level. Yeah.
Well, thank you with that. So we'll move on to the Department of Agriculture, Chris.
Or, yeah.
Is that you?
We-
Is that me? Is that you?
Actually, we've already, yeah.
That's great.
Don't be nervous.
Parks and Recreation next.
You guys followed the agenda and jumped all over
Yeah,
it.
all of it. Yeah.
Parks and Recreation, Parks and Recreation next.
All right,
Parks and Recreation.
Parks and Rec.
Who I
Oh,
think is not present. Are they present?
Well,
No, right.
and then Port Authority.
So Port Authority is long next, yep.
Right, so being, because we're the first line of defense and commodities coming into the port, we were supposed to be looking at, setting up a task force within the port. So, but and I were gonna be working on that with management, so it's something that's being worked on right now. The last time the steamers were here, last meeting, and they were very vocal about what they were talking about is, you know, they're the ones seeing it first, so anything that comes up, they're the ones seeing everything. If you're being over the safety part, we only see it after that, so whether it be vaccinates, gold spiders, whatever, it needs, you know. So we're gonna be working for this whole farmers message tomorrow, so that our own task force is within the plan.
you guys, and I didn't even see that list. I thought it was a header. That's what, where's this list you're looking at? Okay. The airport, Guam International Airport Authority.
So, January 3rd, we assisted Garrett's team with his dog handlers and together with our air terminal manager, Mr. Juan Regis, and our superintendent, Mr. McDonald, to see firsthand together with the Department of Interior, Mr. William Hague and Stephen Savage, to observe the demonstration of these dogs, CRB detection and snake detection also at the aircraft, one of the aircraft and United's cargo facility. And yes, I'm sorry.
Just to clarify, June 3rd was June.
Yeah, my picture says June 3rd.
Okay.
I got that timestamp, so
Yeah.
you know, so the managers will ask me, they would know what time, when and where. So they were able to observe those things and they asked questions about picking up the dogs. So how do you choose the dogs? It's their temperament, or maybe some of these guys were there also. But from my observation, the different types of dogs, the medium size and the smaller ones, like the Jack Russell type of dog, they're nimble enough to get into the wheel wells and find the rhino beetle and or the snake. So different dogs for different types of inspections were pretty interesting to see and observe. And from what I gather from my observation with the people, they were very attuned and attentive to it and were really asking a lot of questions. And as far as I'm concerned, I think that the demonstration went really well. And also, in a nutshell, that demonstration, what our biosecurity orientation for my upper management, Mr. Wages and McDonald, so they saw firsthand of what we are assisting and coordinating with our local biosecurity team, as well as the federal side. So that's what I have for.
That's excellent. When you have on the ground training for staff and then the
Yes.
training extends to leadership.
Especially
That,
leadership.
that's an awesome example.
That was a very good demonstration for them to see and observe.
Thank you for sure.
Can I add on to that real quick? I just like to thank Eric again for helping us make that happen. For the departments or whatever, the deputy what's its title again? MJ, DPAS stands for Deputy.
Deputy Assistant Secretary.
Yes. Yeah, to come in all last minute and for the airport to assist us to throw this all together to get all the leadership from Wildlife Services, UOG, airports, to come together and to realize how important invasive species management is, especially coming from Department of the Interior, who funds a lot of invasive species management projects, to get them to realize how important it is to us and eventually to reopen up the funding streams that we used to rely on. Because right now they're still in limbo. So it's good that that happened. Thank you, Eric, and your report.
No problem, thank you.
You look sad.
Anything else? Sir,
I'm fine, that's it.
I don't, do you sign the mayor's council?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes, sir.
At the mayor's council, I guess we're just looking for information on all of this invasive species we have. Like to see what we can do to help. Eradicating our invasive species. We don't like it any more than you guys do. And whatever information, pamphlets, or whatever you have that you can give to our mayor's offices so we can identify and help, like I said, eradicate it, we would love to help them. And that's all I have, I think. Sorry.
No, that's great. Info sharing and the request for, we appreciate that. Okay, UOG. Ross, are you representing UOG?
No, but before Rollins starts talking, I want to.
One's at the table, I went all the way to Ron.
You have one job.
And he failed already. Yeah, I'd like to steal Rollins' thunder and introduce Dr. Alfred Daniel Johnson, who's our extension entomologist. He's been on island about a month. He's sitting right here by himself, which is a big mistake.
Rollins too.
So he'll be working in cooperative extension. Daniel also is gonna be teaching a entomology course with Fish and Wildlife up in Saipan, I think in early August. Chris, are you involved in that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. And then just before I give the floor to Roland, we do have, we just received about $250,000 from Forest Service, which we didn't think we thought we lost it. And that's going to be to hire, it's a 2-year project to hire a postdoc to work on biological control of Asian cycad scale. We've been wiping out our native cycads. So Roland, I'll turn the floor back to you.
So, that was actually, the last report was, we were almost ready to hire, Dr. Johnson here. Now he's on board and, he's also making the region. So, he's, really good at, identifying insects as a passion of his. And customs are forward to really working with them. Just as an update, we are still, currently in the process of hiring an extensive pathologist and a source scientist. All of these will need. The university is also continuing with the regional, the Mechanism regional, biosecurity plan update. We are getting pretty close. And thank you, because able to get some word back from our federal partners. And I am working with National Invasive Species Council to coordinate the federal component of the RVP. That's, I'm working at that as well. I would also like to report that a number of us in here were part of the island biosecurity training that was held in January. And a couple of things. I'd like to forward my report to Cheerio, who can then just disseminate it. But a couple of things kind of touch us here, because we have some recommendations. One of the recommendations that came out was to develop a biosecurity manual, similar to the interagency biosecurity manual that Hawaii has. And what this does is lays out the relationship between the agencies, spells out their roles. And so that is something that we have not touched. Also, we need to work on upgrading, developing, and document and institutionalizing SOPs. A lot of things is our agencies are very small and they're very person dependent. The problem is you drop the value and you get one recommendation if Chris is there, but if Chris is not there, you get something else. So what we'd like to do is come to to the point where we can institutionalize the SOPs so that everybody knows what the procedures are. And what's awesome is these are all the recommendations that are coming from the participants. And I will have to say, it was refreshing to have the stevedores there. If there's one thing that were not showed up, is the opinions. But the stevedores also had some valuable input and some recommendations. So as was reported by the court, we will be getting together to see what we can do to help facilitate. And we believe that these recommendations have the potential of reinforcing our biosecurity operations at the port. There was some concern about reassessing the biosecurity inspection fee usage. And that's why I think it's important to know that the Guam Invasive Species Council must reevaluate the allocation and management of the Guam Biosecurity Fund revenues to better support Guam priority biosecurity efforts. So that's a big one that came out of that. Those are just some of the highlights. Collaboration, communication was also very important. And just to let you know.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay.
All right, I think we covered everybody unless someone came in to represent. Oh,
Actually, we have the district.
Yeah.
we got the district,
We do.
because I was looking on the wrong list.
Yeah, it's okay, it's okay.
Now I
The committees,
So non-voting
non-voting
members,
members.
yeah, so I could bring in USDA APHIS.
Figured I'd wait and let someone volunteer me. Yeah, sure. So I've got a few items. So we've, as I mentioned, we participated with the meeting with the OIA Assistant Secretary. So it's a high political appointee. It went great. He asked a lot of questions, seemed incredibly supportive of all the work, which is important. He also seems like a great fit for the position, since he comes from a communications infrastructure background. He ran a lot of communications infrastructure, invasive species, but a big component of OIA is, of course, infrastructure in our region. So it seems it was all positive all around. We're working through some things with both the soil districts and the mayor's council to look at ways to increase the feral swine management programs. So I know there's some things I think they're advocating for with the legislature with regards to that, to secure some funds to possibly assist with increasing the program. We are working with DoD partners now, doing some operational brown tree snake control with the idea of trying to take a lot of research concepts that have been developed over the past decade and making them an operational component to try to get end result would be hopefully reintroductions of native species into these areas. I feel like I'm forgetting something else. What's am I forgetting? Or is that it? I mean, it's only a lot. And yeah, otherwise, we're just standing by to assist with anything people need, much like we've done with Glenn's team for CRB. We're here as the basically as an extension of the national. We're our own program, but we've been acting on the behalf of the National Detector Dog Training Center out of Georgia to assist other programs because they've had so much mission creep that they're not really available lot of canine training needs, handler training needs, program development. So we've been assisting folks all over the region with that, so. An odor is an odor, and we've been given broad authority, well, not right, I should say authority, no one's invested in anything, but I should say. Okay, broad approval for us to extend beyond something with a backbone to assist programs for any sort of detection needs they may have. In kind of our conservation biosecurity feeders, so we're here for
Does that
that.
include control?
Control in what way? Like for going out and,
Well, I remember at one time we tried to get the helicopter to control Little Fire Ant, and we're told that we couldn't because it didn't have a backbone.
I'm looking to reevaluate with that. I'd mentioned that to some folks before. We'll see if we can. Some of it too was turning into, I won't get into the nitty gritty. Basically, it was also changing the way some of the funding was going between laws, yourselves, and then us. It was almost as a pass through, which we're not supposed to be doing in certain circumstances. So there was two issues, but we're hoping to explore. We just haven't had a chance because of the DRP to explore all of these options, because there's been at least a 40 to 50% staffing loss rate at USDA and APHIS particularly, so it's hard to talk. Yeah, exactly, we can sidebar for sure. I haven't had a chance to approach it.
That broader control? Was that just for canine training, or that was broader than?
It was a canine training, because theoretically PPQ, National Texture Dog Center, deals with that. We're kind of this weird shoot as wildlife services that was developed because they needed us for brown tree snake related work on islands. PPQ couldn't really maintain a presence there, and so it just developed. And just because PPQ has had so much mission creep on the mainland, they now get dogs for dang near everybody. They get dogs for DEA, CBP, like everybody. So they're so busy doing that work as well, that what they did is everyone's kind of just gentleman's agreement agreed that we'll assist anyone who needs it, as long as we have the capability. I mean,
Anyone who needs a dog training.
based stuff, yes. Something with detection, anything with detection, basically. I mean, we won't set up an explosives or, that kind of interdiction program, but if it's got a biosecurity or conservation component, because we're doing rat detection work out in the fields with the DOD as well. So I mean, if it's something that needs to be done for a biosecurity or conservation eradication type of thing, we're here to help. Both operationally, but also program development, certification, whatever.
BST.
Yeah, we proposed an agenda item, but that's under new business.
Yeah, it's be on a new business. Okay, yeah, we could wait till new business for that. All right, next in the room, NAPAC. Yeah.
The Joint Region Marianas Regional Biosecurity Program continues at points of our DoD installation points of embarkation. With USDA Wildlife Services and CSU partner Colorado State Semel. I think it's a good time to point out a brown tree snake that was interdicted up at Anderson Air Force Base in January. It was a really big snake to find on an airplane that far onto the flight line. It was a snout bent length of, I think it was 1600. 1600 millimeters, was about this big. That's to find one on the airfield is rare. Find one that big is even just crazier. But that's the program working. Thank you so much for that being successful. Yeah, that's the update.
Thanks.
Okay, Chris, who's next?
That is it for partner updates. Yeah.
One thing that was missed, the guest that was a big hit with that woman, the big wig from DC, was the cocoa bird. At the invasive training. What's that? The guys? Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Okay, all right. All right, so next thing, now we can go ahead and move on to old business.
The old business is the. Okay. So for old business, we have. Establishment of committees, so we have a governance committee.
Yeah.
Who's an update from the governance? Committee?
Sure, I can provide an update for the governance committee, so. Part of the governance committee is to really to review, Guam Department of Agriculture Biosecurity Division organizational makeup. We have not, yet, man, I know we've had, several discussions though with some of the members, within the committee. As you can see here is Department of Agriculture, Northern Guam Soil and Water District, Guam APHIS PQQ, and Guam Customs and Quarantine. But just to basically just review the organizational makeup of the biosecurity division, there has not been an overall discussion other than several proposals to reorganization of the biosecurity division. And so any recommendations on the organizational chart would be great. And that's kind of it for the, unless anyone within the committee that would like to speak up in regards to the organizational makeup, please.
Aside from the organizational makeup, how many employees have we hired since our last meeting, other than the ISC?
Yeah, so including the ISC, I'd say 4 employees. So one is an agriculturalist 1, our agricultural management technician 1, agricultural management technician 2, and an ISC. So we have a total of 4 employees that have been hired since then.
Okay, and are we pending additional employees?
Certainly. Yeah.
So the recruitment process is already in motion for the remaining amount, or is there funding that needs to be available in order to hire them?
No, there is funding available to hire, yes. For the-
Okay, so we should be expecting an additional beef up on the staffing of the
I would certainly love to.
biosecurity.
Yes.
Okay, okay, great, I just want to guess.
Is that
Good,
with fee money? Are we hiring with the fee?
Yes, are hiring with the fee, obviously with the invasive species
Yeah.
coordinator,
That's where we're allocating.
so the tax are with, so yeah, it's for a certain program that was funded. But that is handled at so with the Department of Agriculture. And then eventually we want to get those 3 hires under the state funding. Correct, which will be for this fiscal year. Yeah, once that federal funds do dry up, then we move them to the state funding. That is the idea of getting them to.
And we got the PO for the.
Oh, good, yes, purchase order for insecticide. Yes.
I got a question here. When you say move them to state funding, you're talking
Under
about the feed fund.
Yeah, under the fee fund.
When you say move though, don't they have to reapply? Cause you can't just transfer them to a permanent position without them applying.
Yeah.
Oh, they're LTAs right now.
Yeah.
You're considered LT. Yeah, sorry.
When would they become permanent? Because you don't have to if you're doing it, if you're funding with both funds. The position can be permanent, you just have to indicate that this is the funding that you're using, and then upon exhaustion or termination of funding, it takes over. So that this LTA issue needs to stop, because you wanna permanentize the employee to make sure they're a part of the thing, and so if it's local funding already approved by the legislature through a budget, which it was, then you don't need to LTA the individual, permanentize them. I mean, we're playing around with employees, life, and they.
Well, generally,
They were,
they.
there's.
You can, I think you just have to identify
So if I want-
the.
yeah. Well, if I want to, because, yeah, I don't know this mechanism as well, but you generally with LTA, after there is state funding, don't they?
We-
Can they get rolled into?
No,
it?
they were competitive. Our examples for street, our aides were all LTA. And this was 2015, by 2016, they all reapplied for their positions under general funds. That was to be funded under the general pot. So now your forestry aides are all generally funded and all of operations are grant funded. So I'm just using that note example, that's what we had.
Yeah,
to do.
you guys are gonna go to BBMR for approval of the funds. And the fund, because you guys are under BBMR, if you turn around and indicate that the initial funding will be this and exhaustion, this funding will take in, they will approve that and then move forward with it just as long as the fund is identified. Stop playing games. If you don't have an expert in doing it, just tell us and we'll turn around and help you get an expert involved in it, especially in agriculture.
You have to terminate an LTA and then.
I know, but they hire let us move forward on.
It's not a painful process.
Yeah.
Just go through the process. Okay, next.
All right, I guess move forward with education and membership committee.
Okay, so the first thing I'd like to report is, for the third time, it's not education and membership. It's education and outreach. Can we please correct that?
Yes, sure. Right.
That's the first communication I released from this meeting.
You need to educate them.
Actually, it's on the minutes.
Okay. As you can see there, I mean, we did the biosecurity workshop and, I have to say that there has been outreach by the districts. On a number of different, but the committee has not met this quarter. We've been doing that meeting this quarter.
Anything else?
Okay, marketing and budgeting committee, under which members sit on that committee?
Who's the head?
Marketing and budgeting. Sure.
Maybe they didn't establish.
No, the January one was the one that brought that up. Where's the January minutes?
It's, you have
These
to-
are-
They actually brought that up, and by the way, it's called, instead of budgeting and marketing, it's called finance.
I said caps.
Yeah, they said there's none.
Meeting minutes have been taken during
Correct.
the last meeting. No, that was sent. I was notified of that, sent that for decision.
It says no members. Yeah. It says no. So why don't we appoint a member? You know, like for instance.
I appoint Joe Santos.
Hello. No,
All right.
Who
So-
collects
No,
the
no.
fees? Who collects the fees?
no, it's supposed to be the Department of Agriculture and Biosecurity, because this is Finance Committee and CQA. And Port Authority should be in it, and so should GIA, because it deals with finances.
Shall we make a motion to,
I just heard a motion.
would you like to announce that motion and we can all vote on, is that how it works?
Yeah, I mean.
I was thinking out loud, so.
No, I mean, are those the members that you're recommending or on the motion?
For finance, I recommend that Department of Ag should be there. At least. And why am I the only one speaking up with Joe? There's none of you.
Nobody wants.
Who would be? Hey,
Because this is gonna deal with the budget, right? Literally of how biosecurity will expend that money, and the invasive species council is gonna agree to how that money should be expended.
for the clarification. Do non-voting members also serve on the
Yeah,
committee?
yeah,
Yeah, non-voting members
Yeah.
can.
Is it BBMR, final part?
no,
No,
We sent a report to them.
Okay, I just verify, because I don't have that value for this.
I don't hear an actual motion, I just hear a lot
I
of thinking out
recommend,
loud.
and I recommend that we table that.
Please, until the director is back, yes, thank you.
Yeah, and this is also goes the same with the next committee, which is Equipment and Facilities Committee. I know we've had discussions with the Port Authority,
The users. Group.
yeah, the port.
Yeah, the users group.
Oh, okay, Port users. Yeah.
Another scratch out.
Okay, so we'll move forward from there and go to the next one.
Alright.
Yeah. All right, so next thing on the list, it is the Guam Invasive Species Management Plan update, which was brought up earlier on this meeting. Obviously, the workshop took place for agencies fall into the management plan. I think that goes in line with what Roland was mentioning earlier. Which is again, to have some kind of manual that basically streamlines the contacts and the roles involved.
The manual would be a component of that business, which is that.
Yeah. So, in, the last workshop or the last meeting, there was the motion to, form a working group for the invasive species management plan, and recommended to include Department of Ag, Guam Customs and Port Users Group as part of this working group. Any motion or any other volunteers to be able to, help with the efforts of creating this management plan, I think would be extremely helpful.
Do we have an existing management plan?
Yeah, it's interim, but it expired already.
Okay, so we.
2020.
Yeah, matter of review, so reviewing them, so I'd say.
That's what this allowed for.
Yeah, I'd say with the working group, it will involve with the review and then filling in those gaps. But obviously it's gonna be a coordinated group effort. Yeah, to get this,
And I mentioned, motion of recommendation, since we now have the business species coordinator here, that Kirill reach out and coordinate and for this session and move forward.
specifically for.
Done.
Well, I think you should, send it out to the main group who would like to participate in the initial onset of the meeting. Of course, the working group will be these individuals, these agencies, but send it out. If the other groups wanna attend, like, I think BSP should be a part of the planning actions, since they're statistics and plans, agency, so. Let them be involved in the mix, with that, but send it out to everybody if you can. That would be great, thank you, appreciate it.
Okay.
I'll just make a motion.
Yeah, please go ahead and.
Yeah, well, what I was gonna recommend was that we already have standing members of that initiative. And for you to get them to, fill out the call for meeting, and they will determine all who they want to invite or fit. I mean, I trust them, okay? We don't need everybody, we don't need 25 people there. So let's keep it lean, mean, and move on.
Okay. All right.
Ready?
That finishes old business, let's go ahead and move on to new business. New business is the coconut rhinoceros beetle virus, that was brought up, again, generally in these, the meetings, before the meetings have been announced. Generally, I would ask all members to, give anything that they would like to put on the agendas. So hopefully the BSP had responded back and, I came back with, the subject talk on coconut rhinoceros beetle virus. So with Chris, we can go ahead and.
Yeah, so our Guam Coastal Management Program Administrator Edwin Rages had met with Dr. Chris Kittalong in Palau earlier this year, and Dr. Kittalong had discussed or talked about the success of the introduction of coconut
rhinoceros beetle virus throughout Micronesia. And we have Dr. Kitulong online. Dr. K, you still on there? And so
Yeah.
about his interest in moving this as a priority for the region. But Dr. K, if you could provide some background.
Did Edwin want to say something? I see his screen pop up. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Chris, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Yes,
you.
I can hear you.
Oh, fantastic. So, yeah, thank you for the introduction and for the time here. So I just want to briefly give some background and context of what I was doing in Palau. I was with the justice representatives here in Guam attending a justice-related project in Guam, and the connection was through the environmental law conferences that they hosted in Palau. So the issues of invasive species certainly is a major topic and issue that that we are contending with. And my observation when I was in Palau was, hey, there's no rhino beetles here. But I was soon to be corrected when I had a chance to talk to Dr. Kitulong and how the progress and the successes of what their biocontrols have produced in Palau was certainly amazing to see firsthand. But what I'm hoping this discussion will get out of this, the hard work that this committee is doing, is to use this as a reference point to encourage the university through the land grant mission to actively pursue the viability of using a biocontrol so we can start making progress in turning the impacts of invasive species around. So hopefully the discussion after Dr. Kitulong's presentation or overview of what this biocontrol does, that we'll get a consensus from this group that something should be taken. I think that's in terms of like what the public wants to start seeing is action to reduce, if not eradicate, the rhinoceros beetle, and hopefully this could be a viable pathway forward. So with that overview, if it's okay with the committee, I'll turn it over to Dr. Kitulong.
Hey guys, I'm in Tahiti now, and just want to talk about so it's a different time zone. I almost missed it. I missed one meeting, but it's nothing new. My background isn't an entomologist or invasive species specialist. I don't know. I know most of the guys in the room I've worked with, Roland, and all the guys around. So I came on initially, and Roland will attest to it, at a meeting in Japan where the late Yoel Miles, who was our invasive species coordinator in Palau, who has known me since I was a kid, asked if I could come on and help with some PCR analysis for the CRB population in Palau. And it was pretty simple, just looking at the regular CRB and then the magic Guam type. I don't know why I'm sorry that they named it after you guys, or I'm happy. Maybe that'll get you more funding. But it was looking at the nudibvirus effect, and the virus is nothing new. I mean, it was introduced, I think, post-war. If you wanna, I think Roland and people in the room will know a little bit more about it. But it was really just looking at detection and biotype review, and then as I was helping them out with a population with a group of maybe like 10 or 15 high school students doing the collection, running the PCR. We found that the G type was actually infected with the nudibvirus, and the guys who had provided us with the primers and the mechanism for looking at it said, "Oh, that's impossible." And I said, "Well, it's hard to say that when you have like 600 samples," and it was statistically significant. So I said, there's something going on. And we've been doing damage assessments since 2014 with these summer programs. You have it there, Step Up. And it was just using community-based people going out and doing the simple sort of manual review of, I had the same groups doing it, same mechanism. So it's pretty okay. It's not maybe overly scientific like some of the AI methods they're trying to develop now, but we could see a fluctuation in the damage of the trees. And as Edwin mentioned, you come to Palau, you don't think it's there, but the guys who know beetles Roland, all the invasives there. We'll see the origami style cut in the leaves, but you know, we got it around. It was the same time around as Guam, but you didn't have as much damage. So there's some ecological occurrence sort of happening, and it kind of matched what we saw. So there was like the development of different viruses and different biotypes. And from some of the samples we sent off to Australia and through Japan, we found that there was a lot of different types of viruses, and that's a simple explanation. And there's a presentation for it, but I won't bore you guys with it. I can provide you, but it's looking at the different biotypes, how they're crossbreeding, and how the virus is sort of evolving. So the idea was to look at how that works. So we sent some of the live virus. It was in gut samples. We didn't send the beetle to Japan. They isolated a strain of the virus there, and they introduced it into a rearing structure, and it worked pretty well. It infected, and it was virulent, so it was there. And then I think we might have sent it off to Guam when Roland, correct me if I think was it who was running the rearing lab? Roland?
The lab, right?
Yeah.
We had our staff was Chris.
Yeah,
our
Chris.
staff was brother, yeah.
Yeah, under Aubrey. And so they introduced it, looked at some mobility models, and he said, well, it didn't kill them, and I don't know where it went from there. But it's been kind of the thing is, in Palau, it's not as big of a problem. So I didn't really pursue it as much as the other projects that we're doing with fruit flies and with sort of traditional medicines, all that other fun stuff. But I knew that it would be really beneficial to Guam and Hawaii. So I really hope that would be a mechanism of approach, because I know that you spend a lot of money and time trying to get the coconut population up. And I know in Hawaii, it's hitting hard too, probably be as bad as Guam soon. And if it works, you know, as I said to Roland, and I said to Aubrey, you know, I'd give you as many samples, send out as much, and have a collaboration to really look at what's going on, and you know, kind of get it out there. And as Roland was mentioning, he works with Roland's great. You know, he's been helping with biosecurity across Micronesia. I had a multi-site project. I brought he didn't make it out to Pohnpei. Sorry, Roland, but he got his crab anyway. But he got on a call and helped them set up the biosecurity across. Even when the Marshall Islands got hit, you know, it was a really quick response from Guam. So we're really thankful for that, as well as SPC. So I feel that it's kind of controlled in the Marshall Islands, because it's an atoll. It's quite easy. But I think in the spirit of Micronesians, like I would like to share, you know, because a lot of my relatives, I was born in Guam. In the spirit of sharing, like it's probably the best, you know, share a virus with you. I don't know if you want that. It's probably a bad thing in most cases, but in this case, I think that it might be the best solution. Not talking as an invasive specialist, but just as more of a pharmacologist and epidemiologist, to get these things out. You know, it's been controlling the population in Palau. I don't know how many virus varieties we have, but that was kind of where we stopped. We had that one virus identified, but I wanted to look at a lot more, because I have a feeling that there's a lot more isolates that we can work with, and it'll help reduce the population. Even if it's 20 to 30%, that's 20 to 30% more coconuts you guys have over there. So I kind of look at that as a mechanism. And I bring up the example of like schools and communities, because I only work with students from each of the villages, and they did their own damage assessments. Now, each of the rangers, or we call them the protected area network rangers, will be taking on those tasks in Palau. It's good that I'm in Tahiti, because it's the perfect example of where community action was the most effective in eradication of an invasive, which is the orientalis, the fruit fly. The majority of the work done there was some trapping, but it was just community education and response. So I'm hoping in that light, we can kind of look at this as a mechanism for spreading the virus, looking at damage assessments, but as opposed to sitting in with specialists, move it out to the schools, and redevelop the lab to look at safety and look at how the virus really works. I don't know. I guess you talk to your team. You have a lot of experts out there already, but that's kind of where I stand, and wherever I can help I'm always there to help. And sorry, there's the lab, the real team doing the work back there was Marinka, and we have a JICA volunteer that have been processing the samples. They're over there. So we've been doing collections every year, like even quarterly or even more. And they've been processing, and they have all the CRBG biotype gut samples with whether they're whether they have virus or not. So we can provide that at any point in time. And it would be great if maybe the new researcher from UOG can pop down to Palau and come look at these samples and see if he can take them back. I don't know, or anybody. All you guys come down to Palau and you can come play with the beetle and have some coconuts.
Thank you.
You just started already, got a trip.
We are at the 11:31 mark.
Thank you, Chris. We'll get back with you. And we'll have the discussion.
So we've already covered announcements.
Yeah, pretty much,
That.
yeah, so.
And so I think we've. Oh,
minutes.
nope. That's right there, Joe. Going back to your previous meeting minutes, were there any comments, yes?
There are two sets of minutes.
Yeah,
Which
absolutely.
will you be approving?
Well. So. Yeah, so actually there were 3 sets.
Oh my God.
So there was a lot of minutes collected at the last meeting. So I think it helps obviously for consistency to keep 1 minute, one note taker to keep those minutes moving forward. We'll go ahead, Ron, if you have some.
I bet that the investigations for the take the 3 sets of minutes, give it to us in one short form that we can approve next time.
Okay.
Yeah, so, second.
So.
For it not to be all in caps.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because you were yelling at me.
can I, there's a motion on the floor.
Yeah.
Yes,
This is
to
a motion.
consolidate or to
To
short
consolidate.
form.
There's a motion on the floor, now it's open for discussion,
Okay,
okay?
Well,
Motion?
Second for the motion? Yeah, second.
second it,
Right,
okay, we got that from Mike,
now it's open for discussion,
open for discussion.
okay? Yeah, real quick, one is the minute, the agenda, which is published in the newspaper,
Yes.
says that it's a January 8th minutes that we have to approve. And so there's no January 8th, it's
Yeah.
January 16th.
Right.
And so, we'll hold this in abeyance, like you said on your motion, until we get it straightened out. In terms of the minutes, and I in terms of what Ron's saying is that we don't need more detail of the discussion. We just need who made the motion, what was the results of the motion, that's it. Who made the motion, who seconded the motion, was it approved unanimously, and was there any specific detail to, so that we can review it and it's brief and concise in terms of the minutes. And then the other issue I wanted to bring up, but it's tied to the minutes, is the agenda. The agenda needs to be sent to the members so they can approve it before you publish it. Because the members can add in, they're voting members, and every member has an input into it. Like you said, we make inputs, and so when you're doing it, make sure that you send it out to the voting member, especially the voting members, to say they want to add something into it. Lastly, on when you're making when you're doing an agenda item, and you're doing new business and old business, it's an actionable item. If it's not an actionable item, don't put it on the old business or new business, put it on the committee reports or whatever, but not on the old business, new business. That's it.
So just say something about the agenda, because you mentioned something about the draft agenda. So actually, before the meeting, when you create a draft agenda, you send it out to whatever members, and if they have any comments on it, then you make the appropriate changes. And then that would be the reflection of what the agenda is gonna be in the
Correct.
upcoming.
Yeah, the published
Yeah.
agenda
Yes.
side of the house, yeah. And then you don't have to put like committee reports and then list the committee, just put committee, the word committee reports. And that's it, and then instead of secretary report, you can put, because the person that should be reporting to us. And is the invasive species coordinator, so the ISC needs to be the one to, what is it, to be the one to brief us on what's ongoing with the, Guam in terms of invasive species and how with the region, how we're dealing with Guam and the region and overall. So we can do that, and that'll be great, so we be a little bit more, it should, and the meeting should be only 1 hour, not 2 hours. Okay,
Came to your party.
yeah.
All right, no. We got
One
those
delay.
comments. All right. Any other discussion on this?
Yeah, this is a lot of procedural stuff. Like, we don't actually have to have a motion to fix a procedure that we did wrong. Can we just say we'll fix it again? Well, we can table this till later, but we don't need a motion to fix our procedural mistake. Is that, like, it's not an actionable item we'll just table the minutes to next meeting.
Don't we always
Yeah.
approve the minutes based on some sort of? Roland, you always say it. Approve the minutes. Say it, Roland. Approve it based on improvements or something.
Well,
Say it.
we can't do this. We have like 3 sets of minutes and we'll
Subject to
you know,
correct.
so can we table the meeting minutes to the
The
next?
next meeting.
Okay, we table.
Then that's what I said.
That's what you said, that's the motion.
That's the motion, we had to open for discussion. So
Okay.
the motion, we seconded, that was
Now you
discussion.
just say all in favor of the motion, say aye.
All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye.
That's it, okay?
Thank you, everybody.
You have to say.
Excellent discussion.
I move to adjourn.
I look forward to adjourn.
Well, I'm adjourned 11:37. Hold on.
I look forward to seeing you never here. Thank
Yeah, Savannah, we want to get him on and we're in the next 2 weeks. When is your?
It's probably next week.
I know.
She's not here, that's why we lost.
Yeah.